Welcome back, Red Spotters! Thanks for hearing the Red Spotlight Podcast. I'm your host today, Alexis J. Soto, joined by Mr. Peter Martinez. We're back with Red Spotlight number 303, and we have a lot of stuff to get to, in fact. We've got some news that is going to cover some late-breaking stuff into the film industry, including brand new streaming services and brand new projects. As well as Governor Andrew Cuomo announcing the return of movie theaters in New York City. But more importantly, we have two movie reviews on some of the most lauded films of the award season. We have Judas and the Black Messiah, directed by Shaka King and starring Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield, currently streaming on HBO Max. And then, of course, we have Nomadland, directed by Chloe Zhao and starring Frances McDormand, currently streaming on Hulu. Peter, how are you today?
I'm okay.
That's good. I have a couple of things to get to before we start today's show. A reminder that our podcast is now available on two new outlets. Courtesy of Kyle Lira, the Red Spotlight Podcast is now available on Google Podcast as well as iHeartRadio. So, how about that? We're infecting more podcast platforms. That's
How and why?
Hey, if we want to say we're available anywhere you listen to podcasts, and that's where we are, we have to be on as many platforms as possible, right? So, and in fact, this will actually be uploaded on Sunday, our usual day, every single Sunday, and the Golden Globes are actually happening as we speak at that time, and so we'll have a review of the show and who wins and how award season happens as we do every year. That's Peter's favorite topic of the year, so we'll make sure to have him on that show. We'll see how it is, because remember, last we heard, the Academy was still considering having an in-audience event in April, which I don't know how the fuck that's going to work out.
That is a very bad idea.
It is, but we'll see how,
Without an audience, they can move much quicker, I think.
Yeah. And they wouldn't be the usual complaints that we get every single year. I also want to make sure everyone is well aware of the return of To the Table. Feel Good February is well underway. Peter and I had our first of the two episodes expected this month. We did two films, Secondhand Lions and The Majestic. And Peter and Kyle are actually going to round out the month with two other films. I believe it is My Life as a Zucchini and Dolomite Is My Name. That's correct, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, we have a lot of things to get to. I want to make sure that we get to it in as brisk a pace as possible because we have so much to get to, as well as the two film reviews. But I also do want to start off with a update on COVID-19 because we have not given one in quite some time. And I also want to make sure people are well aware of the current situation. And it's actually going to be a great lead-in to our conversation with the news that Governor Cuomo announced, okay? So here is where we are. This week, we've marked a devastating milestone of 500,000. That's 500,000 people, Americans, dead from COVID. To quote NBC News, it took 4 months to reach the first 100,000 dead. The toll hit 200,000 deaths in September and 300,000 deaths in December. Then it took just over a month to go from 300 to 400,000 deaths and about 2 months to climb from 400,000 to 500,000 deaths. That's where we are right now this week. Not great stuff, and just sad to hear about. But I do want to, there's a lot of COVID news, but it seems, at least from what I have noted down here, that this may be the beginning of perhaps a turning point. There may be more positive things to say than bad. Of course, it ain't all positive stuff, but I want to make sure people, it's not going to be just completely doom and gloom. A reminder that deaths, cases, and hospitalizations are dropping. In fact, COVID cases are down considerably, 76% in the last 6 weeks. Of course, that's coming off of January, which was the deadliest month on record. However, COVID, that's great. That's a new one. COVID variants, I was going to say COVID variants, are rampant, and they're increasing every day, and they're definitely far more infectious than the original COVID-19. So be aware of that. I want to remind people that there may be some positive news that I'm about to say, but stay socially distanced, mask, double mask. I want to say that, now, I think as of a couple of weeks ago, I actually started just doing double masking instead of just a regular old mask, just, for extra, I guess, assurance in the wake of this new variant. So there is that. Peter Martinez, by the way, is now a recipient of the first dose of the COVID vaccine, and is also, by the way, he has an extra bulletproof bulletproof vest on him with the fact that he survived COVID, so he practically is completely bulletproof from COVID.
Mm-hmm. There's a good chance I had antibodies, and then on top of that with the
vaccine.
The vaccine, I should be very good to go.
According to various estimates, somewhere between 15% and 30% of the U.S. population have already been infected with COVID-19. However, more than 42 million Americans have received one or both of the vaccine doses, with upwards of 16 million fully vaccinated. On average, we are vaccinating 1.7 million people a day. So there is some progress with the vaccine rollout that we have to remind people was not a thing whatsoever in 2020. I also have other news here. The FDA just approved a brand new vaccine, our third official vaccine, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. And that one only requires a single dose. So that one is on the way. And for Californians here, which, Peter and I are Californians, we have an update from Governor Newsom in terms of how the timetable is looking like. And he said, these are his words, by the end of March, April, we're going to start seeing things really ramp up. May, June, July, game changer. All of a sudden, we're at a completely different level. Peter, what do you make of all this COVID situation that we have right now with the pandemic?
I think things are in a very good direction.
When's the last time you said that?
It appears a lot of people are getting vaccinated. Deaths are down.
Cases are down.
Cases are down. Now, of course, the worry is the second that people see that line go down, they're like, we did it. Let's open up immediately. Everyone go back to the way things are.
We've been here before.
Yeah. But the one difference is we haven't been here before with
vaccines.
And that's important because, if you get a lot of the elderly vaccinated, they're not going to the hospital, which means they're not filling up beds, which means you don't have hospital overflow. So yeah, it can change the game, obviously. So I would say overall it's trending in a good direction.
Oh, just in case people are wondering, Peter Martinez is an essential worker through his employment. That's why he has the vaccine. He clearly is not over the age of...
I'm not Alexis Moreno.
Right. Just in case people were wondering, why the fuck does Peter have the vaccine? It's because he's an essential worker. I was going to ask you, actually, if any of your family members have already gotten vaccinated. I have at least 2, maybe 3 as of next week, maybe.
I have quite a bit. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I believe.
Wow, good.
Immediate family members who have been vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's good. It's really, really good.
How about some encouraging news for a change, huh? That's just interesting.
You could grab onto it and hold on to it for dear life.
Right. And, of course, relief is scheduled to be on the way. The House of Representatives is expected to pass a $1.9 trillion relief package, and the Senate is supposed to get through with it by the 15th, 16th of March. So take that for what you will, but that's some well-needed, much-needed aid coming in the way. Again, we'll see what the final details are of it, of course, but for the most part, it should be doing an overall good to it. And obviously, this is going to inform. What I thought was really interesting is the timetable here. Like I don't know, like it seemed last month that we were completely fumbling the rollout of the vaccine, and while we're still not moving nearly fast enough, it actually isn't feeling or going as slowly as I figured it would be.
Really?
Well, I don't know. I mean, evidently more people are getting vaccinated than I realized were on average. I mean, it's still painfully slow, but I guess at the moment, I mean, I think, what was it? I heard that the president had set a pretty low bar. I think about, what was it? 1 million people a day. And so far, we're vaccinating 1.7 million people a day. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Take that for what you will.
If you wanted to hit like if you wanted to, shoot for the moon, at the very least, you'd be like 2 million a day,
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we'll get there. And again, we're having a third vaccine on the way.
They want to say they've overperformed,
Yeah,
right? They
yeah,
don't
it's
they don't
politics.
want to
Yeah.
they don't want to set a high goal and then not meet it and then be attacked for not meeting their goals,
Right.
So of course they're going to meet a goal that seems high but also is very achievable.
I do want to say, though, that people were questioning that number when he said it initially. It did seem high, considering how slowly things were moving. So it's a back and forth definitely there. But this is definitely encouraging news. But I also want to stress the fact that please, please, please keep wearing the mask. Double mask it. Don't take any chances, even if you have the vaccine. We have, honestly, an opportunity here to make up for a year of horrendous mistakes. Maybe. Please, America, let's not fuck it up, please. We'll have more to say on this as it affects the movies in our first story in a bit, but I also have a couple of news items I want to get out of the way with. These are just quick stuff, and I'll say it one by one, and if Peter has something, he'll let me know if he wants to say a commentary on any of this. Spider-Man has a new title, No Way Home. It seems a bit silly. All of the hullabaloo that was made about this title for this movie. Spider-Man No Way Home, the sequel to Spider-Man Far From Home, which was the sequel to Spider-Man Homecoming. Notice a trend here. So there's that. We have
That's something.
It's something. We have a new poster, and in fact, by the time this episode's uploaded, we would have a new trailer for the brand new Pixar film Luca. Peter, you and I have commented on this before, how this looks really unlike anything we are accustomed to getting from Pixar, at least in the animation style. And we've also commented about how much it feels like Call Me By Your Name. Well, it turns out they threw in a little bit of Shape of Water in there, because that poster really came out of left field about what it suggests of some of the main characters. Did you see the poster that Alexis shared this morning?
Wasn't one of them like a mermaid?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I knew that.
I didn't know that. Maybe I must have not been reading about that, but that seemed to never got to me, apparently. So that was new news to me.
Yeah, well, I think that was the twist. One of the boys is a mermaid. Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't. I mean, this seems we joke, but like, yeah, Call Me By Your Name for children. I don't know. I'm very interested. I like the slightly different art style.
Slightly different, yeah. It's not entirely stop motion, but it feels a little stop motion inspired, maybe, in the particular animation style of the characters.
Well, it just feels like this is the first time Pixar has attempted a different art style, like entirely. You know what I mean?
After
I feel
20
like every other
some
Pixar
movies.
film.
No, not every movie.
Yeah.
Every Pixar film has the exact same animation style, it seems like.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that invented the 3D animation game, basically. And then every other animation studio copied them. So.
Yeah.
The Muppet Show is now on Disney Plus. Yay. So there's that. Danny Elfman is coming back to do another score for another comic book movie. This time it is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, directed by Sam Raimi. So it's a little bit of another Spider-Man reunion, it seems like.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Zack Snyder is developing a King Arthur movie. That actually might sound like fun. Even though King Arthur movies are like awful in almost every way, but he can probably make that pretty fun.
Yes. the Jesus allegories will be legendary.
I was gonna say right now that Zack Snyder keeps releasing some new images of Justice League. Do you want to talk about some of these images that have been released? Because there have been several that have, oh my God, have elicited such laughter. And I mean, it's not laughter as in like making fun. It's just genuinely hilarious.
Oh, you mean of Joker?
Yeah.
I saw that and I didn't even. It was Moreno shared it in the group chat, and I was like, "Oh, yeah." There's another picture of the Joker, and like I think he's wearing like a doctor's thing. It's very Joker-like. And then I didn't even notice at first that he was wearing like the thorns, and I don't even know how they're gonna incorporate that into the film, but I just laughed and went like, "Oh, you, Snyder."
Yeah. Just a couple of things I wanted to say. You know, people were saying about Zack Snyder, he had a pretty interesting piece this week talking about his trials and tribulations. And I want to make a couple of things very clear. I know in the past I've not been too kind with him or his work. It's been years and years and years. And look, I already know how I'm going to feel about the Snyder Cut because I know how I feel about Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. His style is just it's not to my liking. It's not my flavor. But if you like it, great. And you know what? Good for him. You know, this story is kind of an amazing thing. And he's dedicating this film to his late daughter. So it's a very emotional moment for him. And we can all appreciate that and be supportive of that.
I always say, like, movies are movies, but, like, real life human beings are just obviously infinitely more important than any film. So yeah,
we have a new trailer for Mortal Kombat, which is I believe coming to HBO Max and also in theaters in April.
Yes, I of course you did not see it. There was no Marvel logo at the beginning.
I saw images of it.
So I was right. You can just say yes.
I saw images of it.
Okay, there we go. I loved the trailer. I'm very excited. I've played Mortal Kombat. I've never owned a Mortal Kombat. Just playing video games though for most of my life. Like I know the characters. I know Raiden and Jax and Sub-Zero and Scorpion. They're pretty iconic video game characters, and just seeing them on screen was pretty exciting, and the action looks well done and fun. To me, Mortal Kombat is it's fun, right? Like it's what this film needs to be is buckets and buckets of fun and blood. And if it delivers on that, it's a good Mortal Kombat movie. And it seems like it is, so I'm excited.
Good. We need some more, shall we say, well-made video game movies in the world. It seemed Sonic was a big success from all indications. Have you seen that movie yet?
No.
It's on Hulu right now?
It is now, yes.
Okay.
Right in time for awards season.
I can't wait to see Jim Carrey accept the award for Best Supporting Actor.
Oh, it'll be glorious.
Honestly, this would be a much more exciting award season if that were the case. Just do it. Come on.
It really would. In fact, I'm really mad that they chickened out and they pushed back the awards.
I'm still mad. Elizabeth Moss should have been a contender for Best Actress for The Invisible Man. But
They're cowards.
Forever and always. Big Hero 6, the Diz Insider is reporting that the characters from the Big Hero 6 Marvel comics are going to be into the MCU. Forbes issued an article that shot that down. The Diz Insider editor-in-chief stood by his scoop. I asked David what he thought about this. We were talking about WandaVision, and he was just very... he said this was very odd and weird news. I assumed perhaps initially this would be some kind of a, I don't know, short sequence in the multiverse movie they're doing where they cross over into the animated realm. I think that could be fun. I mean, they're going to do it anyway, so why not just go all out with that particular concept? However, I think perhaps there wasn't like concrete confidence in how they were going to be used. I guess the door could have been open that they're going to be using these characters in a Disney Plus show as their own thing, but just a live action version of it. But I don't know. Big Hero 6 is interesting, right? Like, there's really no one that loves that movie on this panel. I enjoyed it, but I have to say, for me, it probably has to be among the lesser Disney animated movies of the last decade. I think I've only seen it the one time. That being said, it's a very popular brand. It, apparently even in the Asian markets, it's very popular. It spawned a 3-season series, I think Disney XD, and it's even getting a Disney Plus series. So I think there has to be something to this franchise.
Yeah, more so than Moana.
Do you have like a list of like shots somewhere to take? Some cheap shots? Because I mean,
I want everyone to know that cheap shot was specifically aimed at Kyle. So
it's just low hanging fruit there.
Yeah, of course.
Disney Plus has added a new window on their homepage, not in America, but seemingly in other markets that include Australia, perhaps even some of the Latin markets I've seen. They call it Star. And that is basically their adult content. All of the Fox library is on there. Basically, this is Hulu, but since those markets don't have Hulu as an option, it's included now in Disney Plus. They raised the price. I think in Australia, I heard that Disney Plus went from $8 to around $11 now with the addition of Star, and it's full on R-rated content. I took a look at some videos, kind of like a tutorial on how this whole thing works, and it seems pretty simple enough. You just go on your profile and you change your rating setting, and you have access to all of the material. It seems to have been received rather well. I don't know if you took a look at any of this, Peter. Overall, though, you have to wonder what they're waiting for exactly to put this stuff here in America on Disney Plus, unless they're deciding what the future of Hulu is.
Yeah, I think they're just unsure what to do with Hulu. Or maybe it's just maybe Hulu makes some money. I don't know. Having paying for 2 services is more money than paying for one and getting more. You know what I mean?
Right.
But then why wouldn't you push for Hulu in other countries rather than do this whole Star thing? So yeah, I don't know.
I feel like at some point, Hulu's going to have to go, right?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. And then they'll just like double...
They'll just combine it with Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting. We'll see how that is received. And yeah, I think that's going to be about... Oh, one more thing. This will not be the only thing Avatar related, but apparently the Netflix live-action Avatar show found a new showrunner in the name of Albert Kim, who had... I don't know, a resume of things that didn't look particularly impressive to me. I felt this way about a while now. I mean, you could definitely say that since Konietzko and DiMartino left, the show felt like dead weight. And then when this was their replacement, it was rather unimpressive. And then with news that we'll be talking about in just a bit, I don't know, man. This feels like it's just dead in the water for me. This live action show, anyway.
Yeah. Is there like an audience for this?
It's Avatar. It's The Last Airbender. It's a live action Last Airbender show. Theoretically speaking, there should be an audience for this. But since
But now people are
turning on it,
kind of pissed.
Well, they're very pissed. The diehards are very pissed that the creators were basically forced to leave because of creative differences.
Netflix was really dumb.
This may have been the biggest mistake they've ever made, honestly.
I said it from the beginning, and now Paramount's gonna go with it. I mean, good for Paramount. Paramount's a company that's they're not as big as they used to be, obviously, in the movie making scene.
No.
And maybe they can latch on to the Airbender, Last Airbender universe as their, quote unquote Star Wars or Marvel. They used to have Marvel. They lost that to Disney. So,
let me get to that now then, since we're on that story. Let's get to our first official news story. Here is Avatar: The Last Airbender franchise to expand with launch of Nickelodeon's Avatar Studios, animated theatrical film in the works. So this is what's happening. Nickelodeon is launching Avatar Studios, a division designed to create original content spanning animated series and movies based on the franchise's world. The original creators and executive producers Michael DiMartino and Brian Konietzko will run the studio as co-chief creative officers. Avatar Studios will produce content for platforms including Paramount Plus and Nickelodeon, as well as third-party platforms and theatrical releases. The first project is an animated theatrical film that is set to start production later this year. Bada bing, bada boom. Holy shit. This is a big, big fucking deal here.
Cha-ching.
Wow. I love this news. I love this news in so many ways. I mean, first of all, we've kind of all rekindled our love for this franchise about a few months back when we covered not only The Last Airbender when it was brought on Netflix, and then also The Legend of Korra. So, and at the time, we kept saying, man, there's so much potential here beyond the greatness of both of those shows. Why isn't this a universe that's being explored? And we had speculated at the time that perhaps Netflix would be, because you had said, Mr. Martinez, if Netflix can utilize this properly, this could be their Marvel and Star Wars. And it turns out we're getting more content. That's great for us. However, it seemingly seems to be at the direct expense of Netflix, because since the only reason I'm mad about this is because I don't want to have to fucking pay for Paramount Plus. That's true. Right. Since CBS All Access is rebranding itself as Paramount Plus, they announced a slew of projects, which I'll get to in a bit. But this is the biggest news for me. I mean, they look at, and I'm happy for us that we get to have more Avatar content. But I'm also even happier for Konietzko and DiMartino. I mean, they literally opened up a whole, I don't know if it's called a studio. It's a studio. It's a whole studio. Avatar Studios. Okay. They literally opened up Avatar Studios. So they're like, get to work on some TV shows, get to work on some movies, get to work on the whole fucking shebang. And I think from their successes in The Last Airbender and their faults and successes in The Legend of Korra, I think you can look at both shows and go like, when these guys are really allowed to, make the things that they want to make within this world, it's great. Mm-hmm. Right? Because the first two seasons are very hit and miss. Sure, of Korra, especially. Yeah, of Korra. But seasons 3 and 4 really come together, even though they're still getting fucked with the entire time.
they've at this point they've kind of learned to roll with the punches.
Seasons 3 and 4, by the way, are beautiful. The animation quality.
Oh my God, it's great.
Wow.
The action.
Yeah.
So good. So good. But yeah, when they're given their ability to actually do what they need to do, not just be fucked with every 10 seconds, they make some great shit. And so yeah, I this is kind of a win-win for me.
Yeah.
Because I hated the idea of a live action.
Me too.
Last Airbender series. Because I already saw the best version of The Last Airbender that I will ever see, which is the original animated show. I don't need it. I just don't. It's this. I don't care what you do. That it's not gonna top the original animated show. It's not. So why even bother? So I feel of course they're not gonna come over to Paramount like, now let's do our live action. Like, they're not gonna do that. They're gonna do other stuff. Maybe I can't imagine them doing like a Korra animated movie, because they've been continuing the story in Korra through the comics.
Yeah, the comics are a big subsidiary with The Last Airbender, right? There are a lot of stories that have like been continued through comics, which suggests, and David even talked about some Kyoshi books that he's purchased. The merchandising of this brand has to be so strong for them to just start Avatar Studios, you know? Oh
yeah. The advertising is the merchandise is there. They can do it. Like I can see a fucking I don't know where they would put it. Maybe they would lease it to fucking Universal Studios, because I don't think Paramount has a fucking theme park. But I can see, the
Universal. That would be the next bit. That means it's either Disney or Universal. So Universal would be the one.
They're not doing it with Disney.
No. No.
Universal would play a ball though if it gets big enough.
Universal plays ball with anybody. I mean, they WB even let J.K. Rowling go over to Universal to build the Harry Potter world. Remember what the Nintendo world that's been unveiled, or one of the Nintendo themed lands that's been unveiled.
The Simpsons.
That's right. Yeah, and technically they're Disney now. That's the weird thing about the Simpsons. They're Disney now, and yet there's a Simpsons theme park attraction at Universal Studios.
But that was back when they were Fox, so they played ball with Fox, you know. So yeah, you could see something like that down the line. No, this is everything we said like they should be doing, and they're doing it. And
then some. It's not just one thing. It's not just two things. It's several things.
They opened up a whole fucking studio. Right off the bat.
And they're saying it's not just for Paramount Plus, which is I think the priority for Paramount, obviously, but also for Nickelodeon, for Viacom CBS to get. Like, I guess that also that seemingly confirms a new animated series for Nickelodeon.
Probably. I can see them doing a Kyoshi. Because the goddamn is that a fan favorite?
It seems to be. Yeah,
they'll do something with her. Really, the format of they're being endless main characters, basically with the avatars.
Yeah,
allows you the ability to tell so many different stories.
Yeah, and the potential is there. Like, I mean, honestly. And I said this many times, that the reason why I avoided Legend of Korra for so many years was because I just didn't think you could top The Last Airbender. And I didn't think you could do...
You can.
You can't, but I also didn't think you could do more with that world. But I think Korra shows you can do so much with that world than you could possibly have imagined. And Konietzko and DiMartino have, I think, perhaps the exclusive bearing on what it means to live in that world. And good for them. I'm just so happy for them as creators. I think the live action Avatar, from their perspective, could have been a risk, because it is it's a live action remake of what they've already done. This is so much better because now they don't even have to wade into those waters. They can create new material.
Yeah, and I'm sure they got a lot of flexibility.
Yeah.
To make the things they like, because if they literally got a studio dumped in their lap, you know.
Thank you, Netflix.
To make all this shit that they want. Yeah, they done fucked up.
But no, this literally like takes any win that was left in the sales of that live action show out, right? Like, I feel like this completely.
Yeah, this is the final straw, right? It's like no one gives a shit.
Wow.
I don't.
I mean, I never gave
care.
a shit, but like I think the masses like. Wow. It's also going to be strange, right? We're going to have like, I guess, upcoming Avatar projects living on 2 streaming services then.
Yeah, but I believe I don't know what live action thing they would do
On Paramount Plus, you mean?
Yeah, because of course they're gonna want some live action shit, you know.
I would imagine.
From my point of view, I think for sure you're gonna get either TV movies, well, not TV movies, but like streamer movies,
right?
Animated, I mean,
right?
Or miniseries for the last Airbender characters and Korra characters.
Like maybe something like in Lucasfilm they have Forces of Destiny, not like geared toward like in 5-minute bites or like the younger audience, but like something akin to that, where like anthology.
Oh no. I'm not even talking about that. Well, actually, you know what? Yeah, they probably will have that, but I'm talking like straight, like full on, like
animated movies,
like full on animated story, like 2 hour and a half or whatever.
Yeah. Storyline
of like picking up with Aang, as like slightly older 17-year-old Aang, and the gang. They do some shit, you know, and the same with Korra, and them, because they continue to do that through the comics.
It's true.
So I imagine they'll have stories that they can just pull out. And
it just makes too much sense to not do it from a business standpoint, and I think the fans
because
would love
they're gonna want that.
Yeah,
you know, Paramount's gonna be like, that's our cash cow, you know. And of course, the fans are gonna go like, "Oh my god, this is what we wanted: adult Aang with," you know. Which, I mean, you know, good for them. They're gonna enjoy it.
Yeah,
I'll enjoy it too.
I mean, as a fan of animation, I just feel like this is such a boss move here. Like for me, like these last couple of years, this insistence on having to remake everything as a live action adaptation, just like really propels this narrative, mainly in American and Western audiences, that live action is a superior medium to animation. I can't stand that form of thinking. And so to have this day come when the announcement of a new Avatar Studios that predominantly will work on animation, and then that TKO is the live action counterpart, is just the best of both worlds for me.
Oh yeah. This is genuinely like, I don't know, it's like best case scenario. It's best case scenario news when it comes to this, which you don't usually get.
No.
Yeah, so it's like, oh fuck, okay, yeah. Go get it.
Go get it. Go get that money. Yeah. I also wonder why Lucasfilm Animation doesn't do animated movies for Disney Plus. I think those would be successful.
I honestly, I fuck Disney. I don't know. Disney really fucked up in a lot of ways when they purchased Lucasfilm. Lucasfilm used to release a shit ton of video games.
Yeah.
And they had LucasArts that made so many video games, so many classics, and then they closed down LucasArts when they purchased them. They gave the rights away to EA, who, you know, if you're a gamer out there, a lot of people fucking hate EA.
I keep hearing that. Yeah, they're not as well received.
Yeah. No,
except for Fallen Order. That one was really well received.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, as long as Disney has had them, like, huge, like, genuine, like, big title releases, maybe 3, which is Battlefront
right.
2, and then Fallen Order, and that's it. That's literally it in the all those fucking years that they've had the title. Yeah, I just, but this is what happens with Disney when you literally own everything, right? Like, I can't focus on Star Wars because we also have this and this and this and this and this. And then so many things get the shaft. So
Literally.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, other things were announced with Paramount Plus. This shouldn't take too long. Just a couple of things to go over. They unveiled their upcoming content. We have, I'll list them all, and then we can talk about whichever ones you want to talk about. A Halo live-action TV series that was originally announced in 2014 and has moved homes from Showtime to Paramount Plus is now... Yeah.
This Halo thing has been through hell for so long.
I forgot this was even a thing, honestly.
Peter Jackson was supposed to direct. I believe it was Peter Jackson.
That doesn't surprise me. How many things was he supposed to direct and then doesn't actually do it?
Was it Peter Jackson? Or maybe it was Guillermo del Toro. No, I think it was Peter Jackson. Peter Jackson was supposed to direct a Halo. And then they got the other director, I think Neil Blomkamp was supposed to do Halo. But then no, he did District 9. And it's just been... The idea of making anything Halo has been rolling around Hollywood for over a decade, easily by now, I think.
Wow.
And yeah, finally they're gonna fucking do it with the TV series. I've never played Halo. That's one of the games I know a lot of people love. I know Master Chief. I know what he looks like. But as far as like any deep understanding of Halo, I don't really know. But I know I'm really happy for the people that have wanted this for such a long fucking time. Then they'll finally get it. It seems like a fairly cinematic science fiction type game. So if you come in with an original story,
right? Paramount Plus needs this. I know they have the Star Trek Discovery show. That's their flagship on the streaming service. But if they need another one, and if this is good,
Halo should get a lot of people.
Yeah. And this should receive a big budget as well. It's expected to premiere in 2022.
Well, Star Trek Discovery has a pretty good budget from what I've seen. I haven't seen any episodes, but I've seen the trailers. And it's like, this is movie quality, I would say.
Yeah. They've also announced new projects. These projects remind me. This is straight out of the Disney Plus book of like dusting off something you've already done and doing it again.
This is where I probably get not mad, but just like, okay, sure. Whatever.
A new paranormal activity movie.
Sure.
Who cares anymore about Paranormal Activity?
I've literally seen every Paranormal Activity film that exists.
I've never seen one of them because, like,
really?
No, I mean, I'm a scaredy cat. Why would I watch that crap? A origin story of Stephen King's Pet Sematary.
Yeah, I don't care.
What is this? Like, what?
I think they're just like, we have the rights to Pet Sematary. We got to do something with it. Yeah, I think it really is just down to that.
What if they hire Mike Flanagan?
He wouldn't do it.
No. Okay.
No.
All right. A reboot of Frasier. This one's hard for me. I love this show. I love Frasier, but I felt like it ended right where it needed to end, and maybe even
it ran for 11 seasons.
Yeah,
He's really fucking old now.
Martin died.
Yeah.
How do you do that without him?
I'm kind of not in. Honestly,
I'm worried.
I feel like if I were to see it, I would just kind of be depressed.
I would be too. I love this show. Frasier is one of my favorite comedies ever, and a revival in theory should get me excited. But like, I don't know. And Kelsey Grammer is the only one at the moment attached. They haven't gotten anybody else back, and if they don't get David Hyde Pierce back, I mean, what the fuck is the point?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. I feel like at this point, I would watch it and just feel sad. Like, oh, they're gonna die. Like,
yeah,
because I don't know. So much of the show was about them in a different time,
right?
You know, it's them in Seattle. Frasier would go out on dates.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It's just, it happened. It was great. It's one of those things where it's like, some revivals are genuinely cool.
Gilmore Girls was really well received.
Oh yeah, I watched it. I liked it. I thought it was good. But sometimes it's okay to just let things go. Just like they were great. They happened. We don't need to do more. One of the few, this is kind of off track, but one of the few nerd movie franchises that will never ever fall down this bullshit revival hole, and I'm so happy about it, is Back to the Future. Because the directors they've what's his name? He's come out and said, like, yeah, no, we're never gonna make another one. We made those 3.
Yeah,
they're good on their own, and that's it.
Michael J. Fox, you mean?
No, the
Doc Hudson,
the director,
not Doc Hudson. What's
Doc Hudson?
The other guy,
director.
Robert Zemeckis.
Robert Zemeckis, yes. I think he's in charge. I think it's up to him.
Good. You have to wonder that Universal would have already done that if it was up to them and not him.
Yeah. No, yeah, for sure they would have already pulled that bullshit. But I'm so glad it's like, nope, not doing it. And I just wish more people, more franchises would just go like, man, wasn't that great that thing happened? Okay, let's look at some new other things.
Yeah.
And Frasier's one of them. So, yeah.
Well, speaking of revivals, and this is another example of a show that I loved from my childhood, also that one that ran for several seasons, Rugrats. Maybe this one could work for a new generation, perhaps. Again, we're not the target audience any longer, are we, for Rugrats? But
that's another thing, right? It's so weird when they revive specifically children's shows.
Yeah.
Because they have name brands. But it's like the only reason that works is because older people remember those names with nostalgia. But if they would no longer watch the show now because they're no longer children, how does that
work?
Why does the name brand recognition matter?
Yeah.
I don't know. I loved Rugrats.
Yeah.
I think it's an all-time great.
It is. It's a classic. Yeah.
Even the movies were good.
Yeah. Yeah. It was the thing before SpongeBob came. Like, SpongeBob kind of came at the last minute to steal its thunder, but it was the big thing.
Yeah, because Rugrats used to be the mascots of
Nickelodeon.
Rugrats in Paris.
Yeah.
It's so good. So fucking.
They were
good.
released theatrically, weren't they?
I think those two were like the first
Rugrats
two movies,
movie. Yeah.
And then Rugrats in Paris.
Then they had that Rugrats crossover with the Thornberrys.
Yeah,
that was of a
little weird,
lesser quality, but overall I enjoyed it. I enjoyed a lot of the Nickelodeon programming. Wild Thornberrys, Rugrats, SpongeBob, Real Monsters.
Cat Dog.
Cat Dog. That was fun.
Cat Dog.
Yeah.
Cat Dog.
So, hey, I'm going to assume all of those shows are going to be on Paramount Plus.
Oh, yeah. I'd love to go back because it's been forever since I watched them.
In case you weren't aware, I do believe that, what was it? Ed, Edd and Eddy, Courage the Cowardly Dog. I want to say it was either Billy and Mandy and then also Foster's, or I could be mixing one of those up, but they're all now on HBO Max. They weren't on there for some licensing deals, but now they're on HBO Max if you want to go back and... I love those shows.
Don't they have like a Cartoon Network section?
They do, but they weren't part of the launch for HBO Max.
Oh, okay.
Now they're there.
Mm-hmm. No, I really love animation.
Yeah.
I think animation is great. Similar to... You don't deal with the same pitfalls as Frasier does, coming back and bringing back the Rugrats.
Right.
I don't know. I just don't know if it's necessary.
Right.
It just feels, again, it just feels like it's doing it because it's a name that we know. Yeah, we'll see.
Have you seen that? So iCarly, which I'm sure is one of your favorite all-time shows, Mr. Martinez.
Oh, yes.
made
You know what? The
yeah.
second all these shows started doing like live action shit,
Yeah.
like I dropped out.
It seems that
I went
way.
outside.
You went outside. Well, kids should be outside. Well, not now, but they should be. In general, with COVID and everything. Mm-hmm. Have you seen how well it's been doing on Netflix since it was dropped on there?
No, people love iCarly. Our generation specifically adores iCarly.
Right.
I was never one of them. I don't hate the show, but it's just like I said, like once it hit live action shows, whether it be Disney. Well, Disney Channel was always mostly live action. I feel.
Yeah.
Shows.
They even did. They even created Disney XD to put all the cartoons on there. That's how far away they've moved away from animation.
How fucking ridiculous!
I know.
I think once it hit like Hannah Montana,
oh god,
I dropped off Disney Channel.
But that's when it really blew up, though, in many ways.
Yeah, and that's when
Do you know?
There goes me being going against the grain. I'm an individual, a snowflake.
Oh god,
I'm special.
Nickelodeon, I remember, poured a lot of money into iCarly. Miranda Cosgrove made headline news because she was paid a 7-figure salary at the end of the show. The show got 7 seasons.
Damn.
7 seasons initially. I mean,
she's living pretty right now.
I don't even think, has she been doing any work these last couple of years? I haven't.
Does she have to?
No.
If I could coast on money for the rest of my life, I would.
Oh yeah, but here's the question though. I think I did read somewhere that they had already confirmed a reboot of iCarly. I imagine it has to be going to Paramount Plus, right? Not Netflix.
Yeah, obviously.
Okay. So
unless it doesn't go specifically to Nickelodeon, or I don't know. That's the other thing. All the best content isn't going to be on cable anymore.
Well, Nickelodeon has, well, I mean, I wouldn't know. I haven't seen Nickelodeon in a long time, but they still got SpongeBob. That's never going to die, and it's still apparently doing gangbusters for them. They have a new animated show called The Loud House that apparently has been on for over 5 years now, and that evidently is also doing very well. But as far as live action material, I mean, no, you don't really hear much of that anymore, do you? It seems to have all died down.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, like, I never gave a shit about iCarly. I feel like iCarly wasn't that long ago.
It went off the year 2011, I feel.
Yeah, I guess a decade.
Yeah.
But I feel like a decade's not that long.
It doesn't feel that long. No, it doesn't.
But, whatever. Whatever.
These are the streaming wars, right? Well, we have another streamer that announced a big show that got some of the panel very excited, namely Alexis Morano. So Disney Plus, this is right up your alley, Peter. The Magic Kingdom TV universe is in the works at Disney Plus.
TV universe.
The media giant is teaming with For All Mankind creator Ron Moore to develop a franchise for streamer Disney Plus that is set in Disney's beloved Magic Kingdom. The first project in the works as part of the so-called Magic Kingdom universe is the Society of Explorers and Adventurers, which is set in a world where all the themed lands and characters of the Disney parks and classic films actually exist in another reality. The idea, per sources, is to explore characters like Seaboat Captain from the Jungle Cruise, or Prospector from Big Thunder Mountain, or the Climbers of the Matterhorn, for example, as part of the world of the Society of Explorers and Adventurers. This is a big deal for Disney Plus. It's literally their brand, their theme park brand.
Is it going to be live action?
It didn't say, but I feel the implication was it was live action. That is a good question. Okay. No one mentioned this in the context of animation. I think everyone's under the impression that it is like a full-blown live action series.
Yeah, but then also, like, what's the age level?
The demographic for this is Disney Parks geeks of any age. That's the demographic for this. A la Alexis Morano.
I'm just surprised this didn't happen sooner.
Right? It's taken them so long to get the ball rolling, with content.
But as far as I don't know, yeah, I can't really be mad because it's like, well, I'm if anything, I'm just surprised it didn't happen sooner. I don't know exactly what you would even do, I guess. Like each episode, you're like, "Oh, we're going to climb the Matterhorn."
Yeah, I'm not well versed with this. Miss Moreno would probably know more information about this as well. She seems to be more versed with this. I know at some point Kevin Smith was supposed to do another show that was similar to this, about like, the themed lands existing in another reality of some sort based off a popular book series from the last couple of years. But that was never really confirmed, but it was something that was in, I guess, development, but never really got off the ground.
See, though, I have had a fantastic. Well, it's not even an original idea, but I think it's a fantastic idea, and it's the most obvious idea.
Yeah,
is just do Night at the Museum with the Disney parks.
That's what those books were based off.
Yeah. Like that's the most easiest, obvious. Like,
which they can, since they technically own the rights to Night of the Museum now, don't they?
Oh yeah, but I don't even think that they wouldn't have get sued if they did that.
No,
right? Like it's just the Night of the Museum doesn't own magic shit coming to life.
No.
But yeah, like to me, I think that's more fun.
Yeah.
Than like.
This could be fun too. I just don't know. I mean,
be,
there isn't much information here to really base off what this show really would be, So.
But I feel like the other idea, like, there's so much synergy though, right?
That's true.
Like, because you can all the characters will be walking around together.
I have to imagine that's coming, right? Because it says Magic Kingdom TV Universe. Hey, so I don't think it's just one show they're looking at here.
But I guess that's my thing, right? So are you gonna spin off like the ice climbers that climb the Matterhorn?
I don't know, man.
And it's a show about climbing a mountain.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I wish I had an answer for you. I don't. It's interesting enough. I'm a fan of Disney parks. My whole life I've been. Much more than you, definitely. Which, by the way, if you've not seen the documentary series, The Imagineering Story, it is amazing. Go check that out. If you're a Disney Parks fan, it's a great series. But we'll see. We talked about a couple of video games, right? Mortal Kombat, Halo. What about Kingdom of Hearts? Is that ever going to have a TV show? And wouldn't it be on this streamer if it was going to have one?
On Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course. I can definitely see that happening because people are really into Kingdom Hearts. I know some people that are just like fucking, they're into Kingdom Hearts. And Kingdom Hearts is heavy on lore. And like I've tried to get into it, and it's kind of a running gag now how ridiculously over the top and convoluted the lore of Kingdom Hearts is. Like I've tried to see videos that like break down like the story so far, and I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy. Like this is like quantum physics level. Like I don't understand it. Like I could like it starts very simple, like, oh, it's a boy named Sora, and you go, but then like 2 minutes in, it's like that was actually his twin brother whose soul was split into 3 things, each named Sora. Sora went back in time, who met Mickey. Mickey gave him a piece of his heart and became a new character, Bygloth. Bygloth went forward in time and is now his own grandfather. Like it's crazy shit. They fought together in the Keyblade Wars to fight back the darkness, and like it's crazy random shit.
Yeah.
That I'm like, fuck, dude, I don't know. But I guess in a TV show, it would be a lot easier to break that shit down. I can see that happening. for sure.
One idea I've had is, you know, the ABC show Once Upon a Time that was on the air a couple of years back.
Yes.
What if they,
Yes, I know.
because the whole like allure of that show was that it was using the canon of Disney animated characters, but in live action, but they were all in the same place. They were all in the same world.
Yeah.
What if they did that concept, but with the actual animated characters?
Again, I don't know why that hasn't happened yet.
You think it'd be a no-brainer? Like,
That's one of my biggest issues with Disney. On one hand, I'm like pissed off because they're doing like the cheap, obvious, shitty, like bullshit corporate things.
yeah,
But then on the other hand, I'm mad because they're not doing the super ultra obvious shit that they should be doing that would make them a shit ton of money.
yeah.
So like from a business perspective, I'm pissed off at them. And then from just a,
Creative perspective.
I don't know, creative perspective, I'm pissed off at them. Like from a business perspective, yeah, like the entire marketing for fucking Ralph sneaks into the internet or some shit is it wasn't even about Ralph. It was about
The Disney princesses.
like one tiny scene in which all the Disney princesses are together. That was like the whole marketing of the fucking movie.
That was the trailer,
It was really
basically.
weird. It was weird. Yeah, make that a TV show. That's so easy. You can bring back the voices. And you know, they work together. They visit each other's kingdoms.
Yeah,
and
or
shit,
we had a Disney
you know?
princess series, a la Wreck-It Ralph. Like, it's there. What are you waiting for? I've also said, like, I keep beating this drum. Incredibles 2 was perhaps one of our least favorite Pixar movies ever. Yet it set up an Incredibles animated series pretty well, didn't it? You think Disney Plus would be the prime place to put that on?
Yeah, Incredibles 2 was basically, it felt like, you know what it felt like? Those direct to VHS sequels for the Disney Renaissance films.
Yeah.
That weren't actually supposed to be sequels. They were supposed to be backdoor pilots to an animated series. That's what Incredibles 2 felt like. So as a sequel, I kind of hated it. But as for a backdoor pilot to just episodes every week of The Incredibles doing shit as a family, I'd watch it.
Like,
That
look,
ain't bad.
they announced that Monsters at Work is going to come out later this year. The idea of that show is fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. But
Yeah.
is that really the one you want to lead
Lot
off?
of laughs.
That's the one you want to lead off with? When you have The Incredibles right there?
Especially since you know superheroes fucking sell. You know that.
I mean, and you and I have been asking for years and now, why have we not had a traditional, like, Mickey Mouse, a headlining Mickey Mouse movie or animated show or anything?
Animated feature, yes. I know they have those animated shorts, and I have seen them. Moreno, she says, like, oh, you guys are sleeping on these. No, I've seen them. They're good. They're funny. They're well made. Yeah, like just anything Mickey.
Yeah.
Headlining. I'm very strongly in a just traditional 2D animated.
Yes, yeah.
Walt Disney animated feature film. Like, I think that would be amazing. Why they haven't done it? Yeah, who knows? Money is always the answer to all that. But at the very least, a show, you know? I don't know anything, really. Because Mickey did used to sell shit back in the day. I remember the House of Mouse.
That's true. Yeah.
And all that. So, I don't know.
All right, let's move on to Kevin Feige. He said a bunch of shit today, it seemed like, in regards to the future of the Marvel Universe. He was at the TCA conference, and he said a couple of things. He confirmed that some of the series that have already been announced will have second seasons, some will not. He was at one point asked about whether WandaVision was one of those shows that was in consideration for season 2, and he would not say either way. And I have to say, as somebody who is a huge fan of WandaVision, is like completely obsessed with it. We're doing a weekly recap series, by the way, if you've not heard about that, me and David. I don't even know where you would even start for a season 2, much less it being good. The whole thing of WandaVision is, I mean, at least for me, is, paying an homage to the classic, sitcoms of television. And without that, and you've already done it. So without that, how you would make a season 2 as good, I don't even see.
Oh, I don't want a season 2.
No.
I don't. This is a one-off story to me. Yeah, no.
That's all there is to say.
I don't want it.
No.
That's all I can really say about it. I don't know if any of the shows that
really
Disney
need a second season, honestly.
No. Well, the only one I can think of is I would see a second season is Miss Marvel.
Oh, okay.
Because that's her whole it's I would imagine it's like a regular show, right? Like kid, you see her with powers, and then but the Falcon and then the Winter Soldier,
Hawkeye, Loki.
Yeah. Loki seems interesting. I rewatched the trailer today, and I'm like,
I really like that trailer. At the very least, it looked like a lot of fun. Hey.
And it did look different.
Yeah.
It looked like they were going for some weird shit similar to WandaVision. So I was like, okay, I am a little bit more excited about Loki. Falcon and the Winter Soldier literally looks like Captain America the Winter Soldier without Captain America.
That's my favorite movie of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's my favorite movie of the 2010 decade. You'd think I'd be excited for this show. I'm not at all. I like Sam Wilson. I like Bucky. And I'm sure it'll be fine, but it just seems like generic Marvel show.
Yeah. Like I said, it's like a less good version of... It seems like it's going to be like a less good version of the Winter Soldier. Which in that case, it's like, okay. Which is kind of... To me, that's kind of fucked up. Because it's like, these characters already seem like second fiddle to Captain America.
Yeah.
So why would you highlight that by basically doing a Captain America movie without, with these two, and then... Yeah, but we'll see.
We'll see. It's coming up pretty soon.
And what was the other show?
Well, they had other ones like Moon Knight and She-Hulk.
Those can get second seasons, but I don't want WandaVision to get.
No, it's too good for a second season. That's how good it is, I feel. And we'll see how it ends. We'll cover all that.
Plus, you can't continue the same concept.
No.
Into a second season.
Yeah.
I don't even know what a second season would be.
Yeah.
No.
No R-rated films, Kevin Feige says, except for Deadpool, which means that the Blade film with Mahershala Ali is going to be PG-13, which I feel we all saw coming a mile away.
Yeah. It's disappointing, but I mean, they got a method to what they do, and if it ain't broke, why fix it? But I mean, Blade really needed to be rated R. I think so. I think it's weird,
especially since Deadpool is gonna be rated R, so they're okay with that. So why not with Blade?
Because they want it to be a big blockbuster. I don't know. I really feel like Blade needs to be rated R, and it's like, yes, you technically can make a good PG-13 Blade movie, but I don't care. Because I know at the end of the day, an R-rated one would be better. So fuck you. It's kind of like when Deadpool was coming out, and people were like, "Well, it could still be good with PG-13." Technically, yeah, sure, but I just know in my heart that I would always prefer the R-rated one. So
Feige said about, his method for the Disney Plus shows, he says that 6 hours are the sweet spot for the runtime for these shows. He evidently seems to have a method where that would mean 6 1-hour episodes or 9 shorter length episodes. So with WandaVision, we're getting 9. And with The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that's already confirmed to be 6. I know David and I spoke at length about, how people are really bitching about the episode length of WandaVision. So that's a really interesting sideshow that's going on there. But there's your answer for why the WandaVision show is shorter. And then I also suspected perhaps budget definitely plays into it. He confirmed that Miss Marvel will lead into Captain Marvel 2. I know you and I had spoke off air about someone speculating that Secret Invasion would lead into Captain Marvel 2. Evidently that's off the board now. It's Miss Marvel, which makes more sense, leading to Captain Marvel 2. And the Secret Invasion show, it's its own event.
That is just not connected to Captain Marvel?
Which one? Secret Invasion?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess not.
It's really weird. It's really weird how they just kind of dropped a random event thing that won't actually have the characters in said event. Like, I don't even know what they're doing, but okay. It's really weird. It's really weird. Like, it's like if they randomly, instead of having Civil War be the big film that it was, they just randomly were like, Civil War the TV show. Okay, but who's in it? It only works if everyone's in it, right? Because it's a huge event. So are all the Marvel characters going to be in the Secret Invasion TV show, or is it just going to be like?
No, that's not happening.
Yeah,
it's not happening. I think they're going to include a lot of characters, but I think it may be a bunch of B-listers and C-listers. I don't think it's going to be the A-team.
That's really fucking lame. Because what's the cool thing about Secret Invasion, at least within the comic? It's just like the realization, like, oh fuck, so many of the stories that have happened recently
were lies.
They weren't lies, but a lot of the characters weren't the characters, right?
Yeah.
Like when Captain America did this, it wasn't Captain America.
Right.
It was a Skrull impersonating Captain America.
Well, I have to say, from a distance, I'm happy that's not what it is, because I wouldn't want moments of character to be robbed and that wasn't really him, it was a Skrull version of him.
But no, if you build up to it though,
okay, well yeah, but
it's neat, right?
Sure.
Because like look at what they did with Nick Fury.
Well yeah, and Far From Home.
That was neat, right?
Yeah,
like if you retroactively go back and say like you see all this awesome shit they didn't really do, but if like you build up to Secret Invasion from Endgame,
right.
and you have all kinds of crazy shit going on, and then you look back and realize, oh shit, a lot of this crazy shit that happened, those weren't even the characters. And then it also adds this level of paranoia, right? Because everyone's like, fuck, I don't know who to trust, and everyone's just like, fuck, what do we, is this really Captain America? Is this really who they say they are? And people turning on each other because of the paranoia. Like that's the fun part.
Right.
If you remove all that, like, what the fuck are you left with? I don't know. I don't know what that show's even gonna fucking be.
That's the thing, right? We know very little about that, so I guess the closer we get to it, the more we'll know, if that.
Yeah.
Look, with WandaVision, we knew nothing about that until we got pretty much close to when it was gonna drop.
Well, I had a general idea what the show would be, and it did end up being that general idea. But my only precaution when it came to that show was just like, are they actually gonna go for it? Or are they just gonna pretend like they're going for it? But they did go for it in the show. We're 2 episodes.
So there's maybe some hope for some future projects if they were willing to do it with this. Maybe.
Yeah.
Loki was pushed back to June. Some people were saying perhaps to make room for Black Widow, which is supposed to be coming out in May. We talked about the vaccines earlier. I don't know if May is on the board yet. I still feel that's subject to be moved unless it just gets premiere access on Disney Plus. But there's that. What else do I have here? Oh yeah, this is the one. You shared this with me earlier today, and I had to like rub my eyes because I was like, did I read that right?
I knew you were going to share that.
Well, hey, it's part of the things that happen here.
I mean, sure.
Don't just say it's not. Wait, it's for my personal benefit, sure, but it's also.
Of course, it is.
But it's part of the news. But I really want to ask you, like, how hard were you laughing when you read that?
Oh, I was hysterical. I was like, I need to share this before he sees it himself.
Yeah.
I loved it.
All right, so this is what happens. So Kevin Feige obviously was fielding questions today at the TCA conference among a variety of different things, mainly revolving around his future plan for the Disney Plus shows. And it was being asked a question in regards to the previous iteration of Marvel Television, i.e. Marvel Television, the previous subsidiary run by Jeff Loeb and Ike Perlmutter, which included, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Netflix shows, a whole bunch of other stuff. And Feige was being asked a question, and it's interesting enough, people, I don't know how many examples I can come up with, but the media just loves this particular, this narrative that they love to push here, because they were basically dismissing those shows and calling them failures in the question that they gave to Feige without even question. Mm-hmm. They were just like, oh,
they're like, oh, Feige, you're such a god,
right? Yeah.
These other piece of shit shows, they have nothing on the shows you've created. You're incredible.
That was the subtext of that question.
Of course.
And I have to say, I am admittedly taken aback by what he said. It's just not something I'm used to. I'm used to, getting slapped in the face. So this is a welcome change of pace.
No, Kevin Feige, I feel, always goes out of his way to be very...
Not by him. Not by him. Oh. I mean, I didn't mean that he slaps me in the face. I mean, in any other instance, it would not even be mentioned.
Yeah.
But Feige has never, I felt, been mean in any of his comments, per se, about any of those shows.
Even when he talks about, like, DC properties.
Yeah.
Other filmmakers and stuff like that, he's always like, oh yeah, congrats to them, I think they're doing great. And I've never seen him go like, yeah, we're obviously doing better than them.
That's always the fans.
Yeah, that's the fans in general seem to suck, don't they? Or maybe it's just the internet.
Bit of both.
No, bit of both. But yeah, this is a nice comment. Maybe it also has to do with the fact that he is picking up some of these characters within these shows.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Let me read that real quick. This is what he said. I think there are legions of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans and Daredevil fans and Jessica Jones fans and Luke Cage fans that disagree with you in terms of success or not. There is a very big fan base for those shows. It's the head of Marvel saying that. There are a lot of people I'm seeing online that like to just dismiss those shows as like, oh, they're dead in the water and they had no value. And now we're on to bigger and better things with the Marvel Disney Plus shows. And this is him saying, hey, those shows have a pretty big fan base. And there have been several reports, as you just mentioned, rumors of all kinds, that certain characters are being plucked into different situations. I know, for example, we keep hearing rumors that Charlie Cox is either in Spider-Man, is in Spider-Man 3. I feel we can definitely, well, not definitely, but suspect perhaps that's the case. We've been hearing a lot about that. She-Hulk, maybe. I read something that Daredevil will be one of the characters in Secret Invasion.
I can see them pulling in Luke Cage and maybe even Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones might be the most difficult because I think she was the most R-rated character.
Yeah.
Like, you can definitely tone down Daredevil, and you can tone down
Luke Cage.
Luke Cage, for sure. Jessica Jones deals with some shit, that might be a little bit more difficult. But I think he likes these specific actors as these characters, and I can see him wanting to just like, boop, my toys now, and try and use them.
Yeah, a lot of people were taking note of the fact that Feige did not include Inhumans or Iron Fist in that comment.
Listen, he's nice. He's not a liar, okay? Yeah.
Feige considers all characters who appeared in the Marvel television shows to still be in play. And the Netflix characters they've now retained the rights to that from Netflix, so they have that. And he was asked a particular question about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He said, this is what I read, Mr. Feige declined to comment on rumors that members of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. are set to return sooner rather than later. He said, and I quote, "I'll just say there are often rumors that are true, and there are often rumors that are not true. We'll just have to see."
Okay. At that point, it would have been like eat shit. I would have gotten more out of it if you just gave me the finger. Like, really? Sometimes things are wrong, and other times they are right. Okay. Thank you for wasting your breath. Hey, you could probably see them in Secret Invasion. I can imagine Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. characters.
It was a dodge. What I found remarkable about that question, it wasn't a no.
Yeah, when shit's a definite no, they feel pretty confident coming out and going no. You know what I mean?
So you're saying there's a chance. The classic.
I think so. I do.
Yeah. The same places where were saying that Daredevil was coming up in Secret Invasion. In the last month, I'm not going to put too much stock on this because I've been disappointed in the past, but there is a little bit of credit to what you were saying, Peter. I have seen various different outlets saying that Miss Chloe Bennett and Mr. Clark Gregg are being considered, if not already confirmed, for that show. The one you just mentioned.
Just Clark Gregg?
No, Chloe Bennett and Clark Gregg.
Oh yeah, those are the two obvious though. Right?
Especially
because if it's like you want a super powered character that the audience may or may not know,
right?
But you're not willing to pay Hollywood A-list prices for them. It works out.
So, I mean, obviously, I would be over the moon. There's no doubt about that. But again, we'll have to wait and see. But if that's true, that would be interesting. Daredevil, Quake, and Agent Coulson in Secret Invasion. You could start to build out the cast with those.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. And then maybe if you bring in Daredevil, maybe you bring in a Luke Cage.
That's true. Yeah.
It still feels incredibly small potatoes compared to what it was.
Right. And to your credit, I do remember reading a comment, I think just the other day, that Feige stressed that this Secret Invasion show will be smaller in scale compared to the comic version of this.
Obviously.
So they're going for that. It's weird, right? Yeah.
It's weird because there's only so many of those classic big
comics,
all-encompassing comics, and it feels like, well, you would want to save those for your Avengers movies, you know, like where you can get all your actors together and do it. But he doesn't seem to be doing that. He kind of did and kind of didn't with like Civil War. Everyone assumed Civil War would eventually be an Avengers film, but it was a Captain America film,
right? Yeah.
Although it technically was an Avengers film as well.
Yeah.
I'll put it this way: if you had slammed Avengers over that instead of Captain America, I don't think anyone would have been able to tell the difference.
Well, remember back in the day, God, I feel old now. Well, this is 2015 that we're discussing this movie. God, when it was being filmed or talked about. But remember that Civil War, I think they wanted to do that movie, but Ike Perlmutter was being a bitch. He didn't want to pay Robert Downey Jr. the money to be in that movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, originally, I remember them talking about, or news coming out, that originally Captain America Civil War was supposed to be very small potatoes.
Oh.
Robert Downey Jr. originally was supposed to have a much smaller role in the film compared to what it ended up being. And then I think they realized, like, yeah, in order to do Civil War right, like, he needs a much bigger role in the film, not like the small little cameo they were trying to have him be.
Yeah.
Which, of course, ended up, you know, you got to pay Robert Downey Jr. money. And what's his name didn't want to pay him, as you said.
Yeah,
Perlmutter. Which I think that's what caused what's his name to be his own captain, Kevin Feige.
Did your cat just attack the mic?
Yeah, she's attacking everything in this room.
Damn. No, yeah. The story that we all should know at this point, Kevin Feige literally went to Bob Iger and begged on his hands and knees, please get this fucker out of my way. I can't take him anymore. Ike Perlmutter is, based on the stories we've heard, kind of a disgusting person. You know, I think he even said, I think, and this is what he said in one of the quotes that I read, all black people look the same.
No, Ike Perlmutter is like your stereotypical garbage rich individual.
Yeah.
CEO person. No, like he's a piece of shit. And he still runs things, doesn't he?
He's still technically ahead in charge of the company Marvel anyway, not Marvel Studios, but just the Marvel, you know, entertainment,
but everything
franchise.
else, Marvel,
yeah. I mean, the merchandise and everything, like, that's just weird. Why get rid of that guy already? He doesn't need to be there. He's fucking rich. Just leave.
That's I'll never understand rich people. Never.
Anyway, that's all the Marvel stuff. Before we get to the reviews, I have one more thing here, and that is New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has given the green light to New York City to reopen their theaters on March the 5th at a reduced capacity. This comes from Deadline. March 5th is set to be the reopening date at 25% capacity with no more than 50 people per screen, with masks and social distancing and other protocols. Some people, by the way, are speculating perhaps Governor Cuomo put this out there to distract from the headlines that he's been getting lately. You know, he's apparently under investigation for abuse or negligence in nursing homes during the early days of COVID, and apparently he's also now being accused of sexual harassment. So,
I was so angry when, back at the start of this whole COVID thing, fucking the media and so many Democrats were kissing his ass.
I know.
Like, they're like, oh, they literally came up with the, oh, Cuomo sexual. Oh, I love Cuomo so much. Like, the Cuomo love was crazy. And I'm like, this guy's a piece of shit. But just because he wasn't Trump,
yeah,
they championed him. Again, that's one of the great things about getting Trump out of the way, is that it's so much easier to attack Democrats now.
It is. And it's fun because a lot of them are bad and they need to be attacked and criticized. Like AOC.
It's so hard.
AOC, just part of the delegation of New York, called for the investigation into the governor of New York. That's great.
It's so hard to criticize Democrats when Republicans are in the way. So we need to get them out of the way first, and then we can destroy these pieces of shit Democrats. Politically speaking.
Destroy them politically. This is in no way to incite violence, because that's, of course, abhorrent and criminal.
I saw what happened with Trump. I'm being very careful about what I say online. I'm not trying to start an insurrection here.
He was acquitted. I mean...
He was acquitted, but, you know, he's rich. I'm not rich.
That's true.
They'll throw me in jail and forget about me for 30 years. Yeah, to me, Cuomo's always been shitty. And so this isn't anything new. I just wanted to get in real quick that Cuomo's crap.
Yeah, of course.
But as far as opening theaters, yeah, we'll see. We will see. I think a survey was done recently that people are becoming more and more okay with going back to the theaters.
Maybe.
Which, I mean, realistically, that would happen as more people get vaccinated and the numbers go down. You'll start to see that. I'm trying to remember when I said I would feel comfortable going back to movie theaters. I think it was when it was like in single digit numbers as far as like infections.
The general idea is things would have to be pretty damn good for you to go back to a movie theater.
Very good. But where we live, I don't know if you've seen the numbers recently. They seem to be very good.
They're dropping.
I think
they're dropping like flies. I couldn't believe. I think I think this was 2 weeks ago. I saw that it went down by 300 cases in a couple of days.
Yeah, I hope that wasn't because people died. Holy shit, that would be terrible. No,
I don't think that was the reason. No, I mean, look, this is. I still feel perhaps it may be a bit too early, but if the interest is there, and it's not just the interest, it's also the precautions and the fact that I don't want to eat my words saying this, but maybe after January, maybe people have finally caught on to be careful about this, because there have been reports out there that said, Christmas wasn't as bad. All of the things that happened in January was the excess of Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving really fucking ruined everything. People just did not give a shit. But for Christmas, there were a lot less family gatherings. And so
that's really surprising.
I know, right? You think it'd be the other way around, but I know in our area, the local health officials said that Christmas didn't have a surge.
Really?
Yeah, it was all Thanksgiving.
That's interesting.
So I think I'm hopeful maybe people have finally caught on to be more fucking careful now.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I also, because like the week or so after Thanksgiving was bad. Like I would get tested weekly. I couldn't get tested anymore.
Wow. Oh my God. Really?
I tried to get a test in Brawley. I saw the line. I said, fuck that. I went to El Centro. I couldn't even find a place to like park.
Wow.
I said, fuck that. I went to Calexico. I saw the line was longer than both the other two combined. I said, fuck that. It got really, really bad very quickly. So I understand that people probably were like, we maybe not, take this a little bit more seriously. But yet, no, I think things are trending very well.
Better than I expected at this moment, anyway.
I've found myself unable to go back, though. Like, I think just fundamentally the way I view things has changed. Like, I can't touch things anymore.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before, I would touch anything. Like, I didn't care.
Right.
Like, I would open doorknobs and this and that and, like, just touch anything. And it's like, oh, pick up a rock. I'm going to throw a rock. And now, I'm so conscious of, like, things I touch with my hands, I can't do it. Like, yeah. Or, like, I immediately need to clean my hands. And I'm someone who, let's be real, the chances of me ever getting COVID again are unbelievably low. But still, like, I just can't touch anything.
It's just changed you.
Yeah, and like, I can't be near people, you know what I mean?
See, that it's affected me too in a different way. Like, the touching thing, well, I carry hand sanitizer with me, so like that doesn't seem to be as, bad with me, but what I've become much more like cognizantly aware of, especially if I'm out, like let's say at a warehouse like Costco. And by the way, I rarely go out, only to get like supplies and, food and stuff. But what I've become really aware of is just my personal space. Like, you need to stay the fuck away from me. Like, please. And every place I go to, it's like, sir, you're not 6 feet away. Can you please be mindful of how close you are to another person? I know we're all wearing masks. That's good. Good for you. Good for me. But please, there's a pandemic. Don't be so close to me. Get away.
And I guess the thing is, like, even if the numbers tomorrow drop to 0, I don't know if I'd be able to change. Like, I feel like my brain has just changed.
Yeah.
To that sort of level of awareness, and I don't know if I can go back,
We're about a week away from you and I, along with Mr. Lira, going to see Onward. We're about a week away from it being a year since we've seen Onward. Sorry, I worded that weirdly.
Did I fall through like some time paradox shit? Did I get sent back in time to warn the world?
Imagine if you got sent back in time and you had to live that year over again.
Like, I always thought, like, okay, if I can get sent back in time to warn the world about, like something, I feel like, man, I would be an absolute failure. Because I'd be like, the sky's falling, and people would be like, okay, shut the fuck up, And I'd be like, fuck, like I can't, like, yeah. So the whole send someone back from the future thing, I don't think that's a good plan.
It doesn't seem that way. But anyway, it'll be a year, just about in a week or so, since we've last were in a movie theater. Can you believe that shit?
That's fucking crazy. Well, you know what would be a funny thing right now? Let's try and guess when's the what film will be where
the first
we will
one?
Finally watch. Yeah, the first one we'll finally watch in the movie theater.
Everyone's looking at Black Widow. I used to think, I still think to an extent, May is too soon. Because, like, why would you expect things to be that good by then?
Also, once you start to open up, numbers do come back up.
Yeah. But again, by that point, I guess, like, I like to see where we are in a couple of weeks, because depending on, look, things are only going to improve the more people are vaccinated. And as I've said, like a million people are being vaccinated a day, almost 2 million people are being vaccinated a day. It is having an effect on the spread of infection for COVID-19. We're trending in a positive direction. That isn't, of course, to say it can't all come back around and bite us again. It definitely can. That's why people have to be fucking careful about all of the situation. But what would be the first movie? I'd love it. I honestly would love it to be Black Widow. I mean, it's a Marvel movie just to get everybody back in the cinema. But then again, that's too soon for like to have big crowds like that. If, for example, like what you just mentioned, let's say May, it's a whole new world. We're back. Would I willingly want to be in a crowded theater? In a Marvel crowded theater again? I would.
That's
probably,
the thing. That's the thing. That's another thing. I used to just walk into a movie theater, use my hand, open the screen, just pull the screens open, walk down, sit in the chair, be in the room with 100 people, and not even think twice about it.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know. The next time I'd want to go to a movie theater, I would not want to just sit there and like fear or worry. Like if I'm not in a completely relaxed state sitting in that movie theater, then I don't want to be there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm genuinely curious as to what point that would be. And it's like, even if movie theaters open up, do you have to wear a mask while you're in the movie theater? Like, if we're at the point where we still have to wear masks, I'm probably not comfortable doing it.
The science isn't 100% in, but some studies suggest perhaps the masks won't be as important after you've been fully vaccinated. That doesn't mean I'm saying
you just go
stop
do whatever,
wearing masks. Don't do whatever you want. No, please keep wearing your mask and put another one on top of that just to be 100%. Like, honestly, look, I have to think on some level, if I had at least by that point a first dose or maybe even both doses of the vaccine and I go with the mask, I mean, that's essentially being bulletproof, right? Like, you can't get any better than that, can you?
Yeah, but if I'm sitting there double masked up and like, I'm just gonna feel like, fuck, I shouldn't be here.
Yes.
Like, fuck, the air conditioning, who sat here before me.
I know.
Who's that fucker down there? He's taking off his mask to eat popcorn. And I don't want to feel that. I just want to be able I want the level of comfort where I can just go, pull down the seat, lick the seat, sit down,
Lick the
put
floor.
my feet up, lick the floor, surrounded by people all around me, and just feel okay, Just feel calm.
I wonder if we'll have to go and reach out to the rest of the team if they'd want to do a group investment in a private screening, if they're an option.
It would have to be a good movie.
Well, good luck with that. But in the meantime, we are doing at least 1 or 2 private screenings for us next month, not in a theater, but in our own backyard, our own projector material.
Yes.
So
I have been invited to at least one of them.
You've been invited to both of them.
And disinvited to at least another.
Mike. You've not...
If you want to, those of you listening, you want to know how fucking shady shit goes on around here?
Oh my God.
Alexis Moreno literally went out of her way to create a situation to ensure that I would not be able to show up. That's some shady shit right there.
I don't think her point was to get you out of the way. I do think her point was it didn't matter if you were there or not.
Is that supposed to be better?
I don't know. I mean, you were not disinvited. All she said was, either you're coming or you're not. We're still having our thing.
You see this? You see the disrespect? The people out there? David? You see this, David, listening? Yeah.
Well, we have 2 screenings for our own friends planned, socially distanced, of course, very limited people, with Raya and the Last Dragon, and then of course Godzilla versus Kong. So, I guess we're having 2 competing screening. Alexis Moreno is technically providing the projector on one instance, and then Peter's providing the projector on another instance.
She might have a better projector. What kind of projector does she have?
I have no fucking idea.
She probably has one of those big ones, right?
I haven't seen it. Apparently
I got one of those,
but she's used it before in her own screenings.
Yeah, because I have those tiny portables, but if she has one of those big fucking wheel out for class presentation type shit.
Wow.
Well, actually, I don't know. I guess we should ask her what kind she is.
You're gonna ask her right now?
No, not right now.
I don't know. I don't know.
Right now is the shit talk Moreno section. Okay.
All right.
I cannot allow her to get a word in.
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Shall we move on to our movie reviews? We are starting with Judas and the Black Messiah, that is directed by Shaka King, and the stars Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield both. This is kind of a Get Out reunion in a bit. Kaluuya was nominated for Best Supporting Actor at the Golden Globes and the Screen Actors Guild for his role here as Fred Hampton. 96% score on Rotten Tomatoes, based on 245 reviews. And hey, CinemaScore is back for how little people went to go see it in theaters. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of A. So there's that.
That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Judas and the Black Messiah, directed by Shaka King. You can kill a revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution. The story of Fred Hampton, deputy chairman of the National Black Panther Party, who was assassinated in 1969 by a Cook County tactical unit on the orders of the FBI and Chicago Police Department. Starring Lakeith Stanfield, Daniel Kaluuya, Jesse Plemons, Dominique Fishback. Oh, Fishback, that's a really interesting last name.
Yeah.
Okay, directed by Shaka King. I already said that. So, what'd you think?
Some shit went down here, didn't it?
It did indeed.
Yeah, this is a really great story and a very good film from a whole bunch of different perspectives. I don't know how much feature films Shaka King has done. I'm not sure if this is his first one, but it was very well directed. And it is definitely buoyed by some great performances. I mean, you mentioned Dominique Fishback. She was great in a smaller role, but she was really great here. Daniel Kaluuya steals the show, but Lakeith Stanfield is also pretty good as well. There'll be a theme with the movies we're talking about today, but this is not one of those movies. It definitely ain't the feel-good February variety.
Nope.
This shit's awful this shit's awful to experience. It is, I think, a really strong movie, and I liked it very much, and I enjoyed it a great deal. But man, does it make you feel so pissed the fuck off. Like, when you combine Judas with Nomadland, God, America, what the fuck, man?
Fucked, right?
What the fuck? And I mean, we're talking about a story here that is not well known. I mean, just the historical implications in and of themselves are just horrific. Like the director of the FBI, doing some stuff. I don't want to spoil it, but doing some stuff here that is. I
mean, history spoiled it. The title spoils it. Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah, the FBI went out of their way to murder people who they just
straight up assassinate.
Yeah. We let that happen. It's America. And guess what? Some have been pointing out, where the fuck was this story in our history texts?
Nowhere to be seen. In fact, if history ever talked about the Black Panthers, they talked rather negatively about
That's the thing. That's the thing, and I'm glad you brought that up. You know, I remember very vividly, in almost any context in a history classroom setting, the Black Panthers were always talked about in a very negative context. They were treated akin to domestic terrorists. That was the framing in most cases. I guess the best you could say that I got out of it was from those classroom settings was Malcolm X, he did some bad shit, but he wasn't all bad. He had some good, they threw some bones.
I guess he kind of had a point about racism being bad.
Yeah, but the point is made that Black Panthers...
Don't get violent now.
Black Panthers were treated... And look, that isn't to say that the things that they took part in were not questionable or...
Oh, obviously.
Wrong, but they're definitely...
But I guess,
yeah.
Just real quick, like, when there's... We never take this careful and nuanced a stance when it comes to other areas of American history, right? Yeah. So, like, when we're talking about the Revolutionary War, which was the original Antifa... where you just had these regular citizens straight up would just attack soldiers and shit, like they pulled the kind of violent shit that much worse than the Black Panthers or anything compared to Antifa. Antifa has killed one person.
Last I checked, it was one person.
Claim. Yeah. But we celebrate.
And one Antifa member was assassinated by the police. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that one person that went on to be assassinated. So then it's like, okay, that's not great to get assassinated. And then the president basically said, yeah, I put the hit out on. Okay, it's fucking crazy. But no, we celebrate the Revolutionary War and all everything that went on back then, like the Boston Massacre.
Oh yeah, the Boston. Oh shit, yeah.
Like you see the drawing, or I think it was even done by Paul Revere. The drawing of the Boston Massacre. It was propaganda to make it look, oh my God, they were attacked by British soldiers. The real story is they surrounded British soldiers and started throwing shit at them and attacking them, rocks and snowballs and all this shit. So then they fired back in self-defense, but then they took that and ran with it and created propaganda for their movement and all this shit. But we look at them and we're like, wow,
they're heroes.
They're great. They're heroes. They're incredible men. They fought back against tyranny.
They did nothing wrong. They never did anything
we never
wrong.
view it that we never view it in that light.
How many times in history class was it mentioned that President Jefferson apparently was a pedophile?
Never. But we can even look at recent history. I don't remember any nuanced takes on the dropping of 2 atomic bombs.
Never
on Japan.
Never.
It was just like, we dropped the bomb and it ended the war, you know?
And it was good. It was like justifying.
There was always
it.
an underlying implication of like, we were so justified in doing it. It was a good thing. Even if it's not explicit, there's always that underlying. So I think it's pretty convenient that all of a sudden when it comes to the Black Panthers, it's like, whoa now. We need to be we need to be, they were violent. And again, that they did some bad shit that I don't agree with, obviously. Yeah. They show it in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing with the movie too. They don't just come out and say, "Oh yeah, the Black Panthers were awesome." They're like, "No, they did some shit, bad shit."
They also killed
always, people. Yeah, and they didn't always have a handle on all of their members, to put it lightly.
Right.
I just think it's interesting where all of a sudden we start saying violence bad. When we look at historical events, it's just very interesting where we choose to draw that line.
Fred Hampton is the main character in this movie, and he's a historical figure that I had never heard of.
Really?
I don't remember his name being mentioned.
Oh, not in history class at all. I mean. Obviously, of course, yeah.
But I mean, I did remember him from the Trial of Chicago 7 movie. He was in that movie. Mm-hmm. With
they kind
Bobby
of mentioned
Seale.
the Trial of Chicago 7.
They did,
like a couple.
If you go back in, I think watch Trial of Chicago 7. I do believe they mentioned the murder of Fred Hampton in that movie.
Yes,
and then here in Black Messiah, they do mention Bobby Seale being mangled at the courtroom that happened in Trial of Chicago 7. That being said,
yes. Black
Messiah is a much better film.
It is.
It's a much better film. Mm-hmm. It actually handles, I think, the material with the gravity and weight it deserves. It is an emotionally charged film, a story of betrayal. It's and Kaluuya gives an outstanding performance. I thought this was a very, very strong film. Can
I just throw out a real quick negative?
Sure.
I needed subtitles.
You didn't watch with subtitles?
No, I did. I at first I was watching without, but then about halfway through, I'm like, I can't do this. I need subtitles.
Were they talking too fast?
Yeah, the vernacular, the speed, everything. It was just like.
I think my subtitles were on from the beginning, so it wasn't an issue for me. But interesting. Yeah. Okay.
It was a little difficult for me.
Okay. Had a Tenet situation happen there. We didn't see the movie, but we hear that you need subtitles to understand what that movie was going for.
But with that movie, it's specifically because I guess they fucked up the
sound mixing,
or whatever. But here, it's obviously deliberately. It's how they spoke.
Right.
It's how they talked. But it's a little hard for me to understand. So. But that's it. That was a little negative.
So your thoughts on the film?
I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. I think it was very well directed, very well acted, obviously. Again, I love how it took a very frank look at the man and the situation. Again, this wasn't a film that was interested in coming like raw Black Panthers. Everything they did.
It wasn't
was
a propaganda
good.
piece whatsoever. It felt authentic. It felt like a fairly realistic, well-balanced portrayal of who the Black Panthers were. You see both the good and the bad. And I have to say, a lot of these movies get a bad rap for feeling like Oscar bait and like over melodramatic and like, oh, it's important and everything. I'm sorry, does Tootsie want to say something?
She wants to leave.
Okay. All right. We're stopping the podcast for Peter to open the door of his bedroom so that his cat, the Princess Tootsie, can exit. the premises. Otherwise, she will not shut up, which is something that seems to happen on a fairly reoccurring basis. In fact, if you're not aware, sometimes in the background you can actually hear Peter's cat scratching, I believe I think it's called a claw tower or something. I'm not entirely sure. I've never owned a cat. I find cats to be somewhat interesting creatures. They are captivating, but I've never had the luxury of being able to be around them because, well, I seem to be allergic to them. So anytime I'm there, I start sneezing out of my mind, and it's crazy. It's crazy. So, yeah, cats, they're interesting. And this concludes our cat segment. Peter is back. He's putting his headphones. There you are. You're back. I was just informing the audience of Tootsie and her existence.
Oh, yeah. She's quite the cat.
Right. The Trial of Chicago 7 is the stereotypical Oscar baity, over melodramatic movie that is so beyond dramatic that it cuts off its own importance, or, I mean, really its own effect. Judas is great. The best example of that. Judas is the best example of what that kind of movie should be. It's restrained. It just feels real. It doesn't feel like overly puffed.
It doesn't have a Hollywood ending.
There we go. That's right. Yeah.
In fact, the ending was really heartbreaking.
It was damn. It was damn, man. I my jaw dropped. It was like, what the fuck?
And I had been familiar with the story of what happened to Fred Hampton before watching the movie, and I gotta say it's pretty authentic to what actually went down. Yeah. Straight up execution. But then also that the Daniel Kaluuya's character, what's his name?
No, that's Fred Hampton. Or you mean Lakeith Stanfield?
Lakeith Stanfield, yeah.
Bill the Judas O'Neill. Here. Yeah, Bill
the
O'Neill. Judas
character. Man, what a character.
I know.
And this is the thing you need to understand. The actors are much older than their real life counterparts. Fred Hampton was 21 when he was killed, and O'Neill, when he joined, was 17.
Yeah.
17 when he got pulled in by the FBI to do this.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of people, I think because I had actually seen the Bill O'Neill, because there's only one footage of him discussing these events. And I actually saw that footage before the film. So then when it started and they're like recreating it, I was like, oh yeah, like I've seen that. And I remember reading those comments, and it's just like they were savaging him, destroying him.
Yeah.
It was on YouTube. But I'll be honest, I have a lot of sympathy for the guy.
He was caught up in the system.
He was caught up in the system that never gave him a chance to begin with. He was 17. 17, not knowing what to do, and they put him in that situation, right? And it's like, fuck. I think he's as much a victim as anyone else in the film.
I mean, the ending definitely shows that.
Yeah, like that. It's heartbreaking what eventually happens to him.
And I mean, the thing is, I guess I've heard about the Rainbow Coalition before, but again, history didn't teach me about Fred Hampton's involvement in that. I think one of the extraordinary things that you learn about history here is that Hampton was unifying several different coalitions of people, groups of people who were seemingly all opposed to one another's existence. I think he even united with some supremacists. It seems like one of the people he united.
Borderline, yeah.
Yeah, basically. And like
he was trying to unite all the gangs, everyone.
for a cause of it's just a cause of goodwill. To acknowledge the fucked up system that was in place, and the FBI responded to that by murdering the leader of that movement, because
It wouldn't be the first time.
It wouldn't be the first time, but it's just like, oh, they're left and they're neo-left and socialist, communists.
They weren't
communists. Yeah,
he was an out and out communist.
That's
They'd call each other
comrades. That's right.
I think one of his quotes is, "You don't fight capitalism with black capitalism. You fight it with socialism."
Mm-hmm.
Like that's one of his,
but see,
his
this
famous
is where
lines.
I myself get a little confused. I feel like, unlike the majority of the American electorate, which seemingly has no understanding what communism or socialism even means, even though they say it's a big deal, I feel I have a pretty good grasp between the differences between communism and socialism. But he kept interchanging between the two, like propping up both of them. So that's where I was a little lost on that.
Well, they somewhat criticize him in the film for that too, in which, you know, he would just get on a stage and he would just go.
Yeah.
You know, he would just fire people up and
like Trump shit. In a way. I don't mean to compare him to Trump, but like Trump. Would,
no.
Yeah.
But I think that's fair. What you're trying to say, and that would kind of bite him in the ass a little bit, because then people come back and be like, "Hey, like, you said this. Like, what are you talking about?" He's like, "Did I? Like, I don't know. That's fucking crazy. Like, no, we can't do that." You know?
Trump would be like, "Yeah, and."
Yeah. Trump would be like, "Yeah, good job. Go do it. I'll be over here." You know? But yeah, like he would play kind of fast and loose with his rhetoric and with his speech.
Yeah.
Which, you know, he was obviously incredibly talented, but that could lead to some unintended consequences.
Right.
But again, at the time of his death, he was 21. 21. So he was still basically a kid while he was doing all of this.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane. To me, you know, Fred Hampton was trying to accomplish something special.
Yeah.
You know, something I'd have no problem saying I would actively support. Again, I don't support a lot of the other actions, but the overall dream.
That's real unity, what he was going for.
Yeah.
Not the fake unity we get these days where, you know, it means nothing, but like.
Between all people of all backgrounds and all colors. Genuine community support that would bring about an end to racism and an end to the income inequality that we see today.
Isn't it depressing how we're still fighting about the exact same things today in 2021?
That's the thing, though. That's why these kinds of films, I feel it's bullshit to try and act as if these are feel-good films. They're not, right? Maybe they're feel-good in the sense that you get a renewal of hope that these kind of people can exist, they can push hard. Of course they're going to make mistakes, but you know, and they're obviously shown throughout the film, but it is capable to push for the kind of world that we believe we can have. But at the end of the day, we're just not there. No. In a lot of ways, we've taken steps backward. And I think it's important to acknowledge that. And that's something that I don't feel the Trial of the Chicago 7 did. You know, it still wanted its happy ending Hollywood, like feel good as you exit the theater type shit.
Yeah.
And I'm glad this didn't go for that.
But it does bring an interesting perspective, because I know there's a bit of a discrepancy with this movie. This is a 2021 movie, but because of the extended award season, it is being considered for the award season right now for the 2021. Why? Oscars, gonna Oscars, what can I tell you? But that being said, it has been nominated. But the point that, is that I want to bring up here is this. The Academy, for far too long, and these are the people who are supposed to be the official gatekeepers of the sanctity of film in the eyes of some. Now, if you really know who the Academy really are, you would never really put much stock in their opinions. However, the kind of movies that they go for are, well, you predict The Trial of Chicago 7 will win Best Picture. I believe in the same way because Green Book won Best Picture. It's those kind of feel-good films that make, I'm just to say it, white people feel good about themselves for being woke, I feel. I guess because, hey, maybe. But that's an aspect of it. But the movie they always shunt because they feel it's a little beyond the pale or too militant,
a little too extreme,
like Spike Lee's movies, like Black Klansman. I'm not sure how. Well, I'm not sure how The Five Bloods will do, but this movie, Black Messiah, for whatever reason, they don't like the movies like Black Messiah that treat it a bit
too militant. It's too far for, I think, for the voters. If Green Book is right up their alley, then of course a character like Fred Hampton is just like beyond the pale. You know what I mean? When every character is saying the word like pig,
yeah,
pig is coming out of their mouth every other sentence. Like it's just too beyond the pale. Talking about the white devils and stuff like that. Well, I guess that's more Malcolm X. I just recently saw One Night in Miami.
And he was a big part of that movie.
Yes, well, obviously.
We can review that movie next week. How about that? But overall, I think this is just a great movie. I definitely recommend this to anybody.
For sure. I thought it was great. A lot of people compared it to Scorsese.
I can see the similarities.
I can kind of see that.
Right.
And it definitely feels like a modern retelling of the Jesus slash Judas storyline. You have this young individual, massive following, seemingly can do great things.
Right.
People in charge don't like that. They pay.
That's true.
One of his followers.
Yeah.
To do him in, and he has deep regrets following that.
I feel like, hey, I don't think it's gonna get the nomination ultimately. It's a 2021 movie, but okay, whatever. This should be a Best Picture nominee.
For sure. It's just from a filmmaking perspective. It's very well done. And the acting, Jesse Plemons.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. He's great. I love him in anything, but he's a great actor.
He went from Meth Damon to being in like so many great films.
Yeah.
Like he just became that guy.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I know that guy, and he's in so many really good films, and he does a good.
He's got range too. Don't forget, he was in Game Night as well. He played a very comedic role.
He was hilarious in Game Night. No, Jesse Plemons is great.
And he was disturbing in Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah.
So
I think that's one of the first places I remember him.
Yeah.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah. So go watch it. It's on HBO Max and in theaters if they're open around you. Let's get on to the next movie. This one is streaming on Hulu. It is Nomadland. It is directed by Chloe Zhao. She's known for other films like The Writer, and she's directing the upcoming Marvel movie, The Eternals. The stars Frances McDormand. She previously won Best Actress for Fargo and for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Nomadland is based off a book, best-selling book, and it currently has been nominated by seemingly every awards guild for Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Actress. So there's that. Mr. Martinez, do you have the synopsis for Nomadland?
Nomadland. Nomadland, not Nomad Lad. Sounds like a superhero. Directed by Chloe Zhao. A woman in her 60s embarks on a journey through the western United States after losing everything in the Great Recession, living as a van-dwelling modern-day nomad. And I believe this takes place during 2012.
2011, 2012, yes.
Because they're showing the original Avengers on the movie theater. Oh, but it's like a year. It takes place over about a year, I would say. So, yeah. Yeah, let's start with you, as always.
I was just felt awful watching this movie.
Really?
I felt awful watching this movie because while certain people in this film are choosing this lifestyle, some don't choose this lifestyle. And in America, the country that I was raised in allows people to go into such a state of financial ruin, they have no home. And they're forced to, participate in. And again, I'm not saying that what's here is lowly. No, if people choose this lifestyle, there's nothing wrong with this. But it's for the ones that don't choose this and are forced into it that I just have the utmost sympathy for. And the fact that this happens in this country disgusts me. And being reminded of that for this entire film, again, it's just like, you just feel bad about it, But overall, I have to say, I like this quite a bit. It's a beautiful movie. The cinematography, just the shots that she captured, like the scenery of, I guess you would consider the heartland of America. It's beautiful.
Arizona?
I guess. I don't know. There were even some shots of like the sky and the ocean that they were like, just, oh my God, great, beautiful, camera work there. It's just a lot to take in this movie. I liked it. And I'm still trying to process it, if I'm being honest with you. It's a lot really here. And I don't know if I fall on like, this is like amazing or just really good. Maybe I'm like in between that. Like, to an extent, this floored me because of, I'm just being exposed and sucked into a story that I just had no previous context for. So I was captivated the entire time. But there are some beautiful moments here that felt at times that I really wasn't watching a movie anymore. It felt like I was just watching like a documentary. I mean, it's not a documentary. In part,
it kind of is.
I mean, it's not presented as a documentary, but it definitely can be in some aspects because there are some real people in here, like real live people who are not actors. And I had no idea that they weren't actors because they were so good in this movie.
I think there's technically only 2 actors, like real life actors.
Right. Strathan and McDormand.
Yeah. And then everyone else appears to just be people.
Yeah, that's an interesting choice, and I think it ended up paying off dividends in spades in this movie. Like, I honestly, for me, there were some scenes in the film involving the real people, the real life people, that moved me. It moved me emotionally, and then to come find out later that they weren't actors. Whoa, just whoa.
Well, before I saw this film, I saw a lot of people talk about how, like, it's slow. Not much going on. And I was like, okay. Gotta get my concentrating pants on for this film.
Yeah.
But it never lost me.
Me too.
I was with it.
Yeah.
I was with it from the very beginning. It was never like, okay, this is slow, hurry up. I was just so intrigued.
Yes. Yeah.
With this character in this world and this lifestyle, and there's this just whelming layer of melancholy.
That's true. That's the best word for it. Yeah. Yeah.
That's just laid over the whole experience. And it just has this ability. It had this real ability to suck me in fully into the world.
Yes.
And into everything that was going on, that I never felt. It never felt slow to me. It never felt boring.
Mm-hmm.
It never felt like, oh, it's not going anywhere. Because much like everything that the film's talking about, it's kind of like the journey is the point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just experiencing this life. It's not. I think you can argue there's somewhat of an arc to the film and this character. But it's more of just acceptance of past tragedy than anything.
Mm-hmm.
No, I really like this film.
Yeah.
I did. I really did. Chloe Zhao has made some great films too now. This is I'm pretty interested in her Eternals film now, because in the past when they've plucked indie filmmakers
to franchise films like Marvel Studios.
Yeah, the indie filmmakers weren't this good. I'm gonna be real.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they plucked what's his name for Spider-Man,
John Watts, you mean?
John Watts. Yeah, like it was okay. His past films, like I understand, like they're good, but they're not on this level. I feel like these are genuinely moving experiences to me.
Yeah, that's why I said I was floored by it, because it made me feel a lot. You know, it made me feel a lot of conflicting things at the same time. But again, I was sucked into this. You know, this is a story that basically doesn't have, it's not concerned with the mechanizations of a plot. You know, it's all just immersion, but immersion with the character as the anchor. You know, it's not a Nolan thing where it's just immersion for immersion's sake. But I you'd think something as slow as this would, you know, test your patience, but no, I was completely sucked in from the beginning. And you have to say, what I'm reminded of in this instance is Del Toro. And when we discussed him previously in our series, when he said that, to me, plot is the least interesting thing.
Yeah.
But that's the opposite of the masses, though. Most audiences, plot is the only thing that matters. And so, unfortunately, this is just not a movie that can never really appeal to a broader audience. Hold
on, you're telling me we won't be able to get the Nomadland cinematic universe with several spin-off films and television shows?
I don't think so.
Oh, no.
No.
God damn. That's so disappointing. Oh, man. What's the point then? Why did they even make this? What a waste of time.
Oh God. I'm really happy to hear you say about Chloe Zhao, and I was very impressed with this movie. It was really overwhelming in ways, and I have to go back and see The Writer, because that one was also beloved as well.
Very good. Very good.
And like, it's so good to the point where, like, at the moment, Gold Derby, again, the site that, you know, is in the business of predicting the Academy Awards, still lists this as the front runner for Best Picture. And again, this is not the typical Best Picture winner.
No, but like, it's I think it's really, really good. But it's like, there's so much to it, to me anyways.
Yes.
I really adored it. Frances McDormand,
wow,
she's great.
Yeah.
She has a character type.
She does.
That, you know, she's kind of created for herself.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't think is that far off from who she is as a person.
It seems that way anyway. Yeah, she has her own like I don't know if swagger is what you want to attach to it, but she
feels like the badass hippie aunt that somehow, you know, made her way into Hollywood.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. I love it. It did stand out to me that, okay, these people aren't actors, only because the two actors they had were so recognizable to me.
Of course, I don't know. I seemingly have a bubble in me, but that wasn't a thing for me. I was beyond gobsmacked to realize that these people were real life. I mean, I have the names written down here of the two individuals. So you had a previous connection. You recognized their faces from somewhere else. It seemed like, because I didn't.
No, Frances McDormand and David Strathairn.
But no, I meant the other one.
Yeah.
I meant the other individual.
Oh no! Obviously, I don't know them from anywhere because they're not actors.
Okay.
No. Linda May, Swanky, Gay DeForest, Patty,
Bob
Angela.
Wells.
Like, I'm looking at all the actors' names,
Mm-hmm.
and you know how on what's it called? On Letterboxd, that they'll have like the name of the actor and then the name of the character,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like for all of them, it's the same name. So like Linda May is Linda, Swanky is Swanky, Gay DeForest is Gay. Oh, that's gonna. Oh, I'm a child. Angela Reyes is Angela. Carl Arcuse is Carl. Douglas G. Soul is Doug. Ryan Aquino is Ryan. Teresa Butchanen is Teresa. Brandy Wilbur is Brandy. Bob Wells is Bob. So like, yeah, like this, it's just they're all people.
I have to say, that's impressive to me on different levels. Like, to have the balls to just use real people. These are not trained actors to carry your story. But damn, did she hit the jackpot. I did not know at all that they weren't actors.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, if that's the case, this should almost have been considered for a Best Ensemble Acting nomination. Just because they're real people, they're not professional actors, does not mean what they were doing is not acting. No, they were acting. And holy crap, in some cases, I think to me, one of my favorite scenes in the film. So Bob Wells is one of the real people, and he's the one that's kind of his life is going to these nomads and helping them, or basically teaching them how to live their lives as nomads, right? He has a popular YouTube channel called Cheap RV Living. And there's a scene, and when I tell you that this scene was hard to watch, in the sense that it was very emotional. Like, I mean, he got choked up, I got choked up watching this. When he's talking about the passing of his son.
Yeah.
You know, that to me was one of the best acting moments of all of 2020, and it came from somebody who was not a professional actor. And he actually gave an interview to Vulture and spoke about that moment, and I wanted to bring this up. He was asked, was that something you had known you were going to talk about? It pulls up some really personal pain that's clear on screen. And this is what he says. No, it is something I have never talked about. Before the movie, there were 20 people in the world I've ever talked to about it. Chloe knew nothing about it. About 2-3 days before the scene, she came in and I told her. That was the first time she knew anything about my son. And of course, she asked if I would be willing to share that. I have not handled the death of my son at all well, and it's been a very private thing. And actually, I think the movie was very, very healing for me. Actually saying it, telling the world, it was a gift to my son's life and of my life to the movie.
That's like, yeah, I don't know.
Wow.
I don't have words for that.
That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And that's what you notice. A lot of these people, a lot of them, it's financial ruin that put them into this lifestyle.
This is in the,
and then
just
other
to clarify people, just a timetable. This is in the immediate aftermath of the Great Recession, in the beginning of the 2010s, after the crash of the economy, just in case people were, unawares about what this happened.
And this is back when that was a rare occurrence.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Just the notion that, yes, some of these people are pushed into this lifestyle due to financial ruin, but then some people are pushed for personal reasons.
Yeah.
Some people are just not accustomed to the kind of lifestyle that a lot of us live, that include me and you, for a variety of reasons. And just hearing his story and his grief and the way this lifestyle sort of helps him cope with that and understand it in a certain way, it's genuinely beautiful.
Yeah.
And heartbreaking. And it moved me. It did.
Yeah.
And that it's not just his story, obviously, but it's also the filmmaking, the direction, the music. The score was really good.
That's true. Music. Yeah.
No, I really love this film. Did you finally find a 2020 film that you can say you loved?
Yeah, I actually have a couple now. This wasn't the first one, but I have a couple now. Yeah. Things are looking up for that list. Yeah. Things are looking up. No, but this is gosh, I mean, I guess the best word for this is cinema. That may be a big cliche.
to quote Martin Scorsese, this is cinema.
No, this is a beautiful film. It is. It's also very thought provoking too. It's still staying with me. There are moments where I'm thinking about it too, and it's definitely caused me to do some reflection as well. I think the best of films do that.
But what's so well done about the film is it's not preachy.
Oh no,
it doesn't hit you over the head. Everything it does it's so subtle and so well done.
Yeah.
That by the end, it never forces you into feeling certain things. Just the fantastic filmmaking naturally brings you there, which is so hard to do. I think that's probably just unbelievably difficult.
Wouldn't it be an amazing thing? And evidently there's a good chance she could pull it off. What if Chloe wins Best Director for this movie?
I'm for it.
Wow. That would be history.
I think that'd be good. Oh, you know how they got shit for representation. Asian women, that'd go a long way. I think it would be more than deserving. Would Frances McDormand win again? Is she becoming like a Meryl Streep?
I wouldn't. If the movie is that strong, I wouldn't rule it out. But a lot of people are keeping their eye on Carey Mulligan. Carey Mulligan for Promising Young Woman, which we will.
Oh, really? Is she in the lead?
I'm not. We'll have to wait and see, but she's gaining momentum. She's not in the lead. There really isn't a front runner yet, but if she could become a front runner. That's where we haven't officially started yet, but again, the day this episode's dropping, the award season begins, and she could possibly win. And sometimes though, like before anything's even done, like there's already
a front runner where everyone
yeah.
goes like, okay, we're
Right.
clearly this person is winning this category, and everyone can just be happy to be nominated.
Yeah, but so far there hasn't been one that's like anyone's leaning toward on this situation. But one thing I wanted to mention, have you heard? There was an inside source that came through the Marvel Studios people that's saying that they are beyond blown away by what Chloe Zhao did with Eternals. I think the quote was, "They can't even believe what they have on their hands with that movie."
I mean,
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. You know what? I want to take a statement I said back before, because I said like they'll bring in some indie type directors that aren't as, you know, to the caliber of what Chloe Zhao seems to be. I think Ryan Coogler, like with Fruitvale Station, did you? I don't think you've ever seen Fruitvale Station.
No, I did. It was great. Yeah. No,
you did.
Yeah.
Fantastic, right?
Yeah.
And then
And
of course,
Creed.
Creed.
Yeah.
But then when it came time to Black Panther,
I was expecting more.
it wasn't. Yeah, and it's so sad to say that. I honestly hate being that guy.
Yeah.
I really wish I could just be on the love it category that I know so many people are on. I really do. I genuinely wish I was there. But yeah, I just kind of like, I wanted a little bit more. So I if anything, I'm a little worried now that Nomadland might make my expectations a little too high.
Well, I guess that's a step up from not caring at all.
Not giving a shit at all, yeah.
So
it is a step up. But yeah, I think I need to be careful not to raise them a little too high,
right?
Because of course I think what was the quote Kevin Feige said, like, after seeing Black Panther, this is the best film we've made.
That's
and
true.
by the way, a lot of people would agree with that, right?
Yeah,
like, a lot of people. I'm just not one of them.
Neither am I, by any means.
Yeah,
the imagination. Again, that's one of those ones. Again, like we lately, our thing is the popular thing that we're like the only ones against. The only one that seemed to have a contrarian point of view would be The Mandalorian. That's not anything new. We have a long-standing history of having contrarian points of view on like various pop culture items. Black Panther, I enjoy the film. I don't hate the movie by any means. I don't think it's a bad film, but I think that there are some glaring deficiencies. I think that's fair to say. I think we're far more critical of the overall finished product, right, than what I feel we all feel it could have been. We're not at the level that most people seem to be, where it's like it is a work of art. It is perfect. It is the best Marvel movie. Nobody on this panel feels that way. But that takes nothing away from the cultural significance of the film, obviously. I think we're all on the same page when it comes to that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. Like, well, that's why I say I wish I can love it the way I see so many people do.
Anything you want to say in regards to that, to how the film treats Amazon? Because they do film in an Amazon warehouse, and there have been there's been some backlash for the film being accused of treating Amazon with like kitty gloves.
I mean, I guess that's somewhat understandable. I would assume gaining access to an Amazon warehouse, they probably weren't allowed to put it in a certain point of view. I don't think the film ever pointed to Amazon warehouses as like a negative or a positive, and I guess that's an issue for a lot of people because they view it as exclusively a negative. I mean, I guess. I don't know. I feel like a film can't be everything, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that may come off as a complete cop-out, and maybe it is, but I just feel like a film can't be everything. I don't think the film was about Amazon and its warehouses. I think it was just showing... It was a part of Fern's
life. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm standing with it.
Yeah, that's where I'm at too. Both good films, great films in many other cases. Go see them. They're on streaming. Like, if there's any positive to the pandemic, is the fact that it's easier now more than it ever has been to go stream awards movies, awards contenders. They're there for you at your fingertips. It's never been easier.
Yep, a lot of them, yeah.
And even the ones that are not, you can rent.
I am looking for Promising Young Woman. I still need to see that one.
I sent you a link, Mr. Martinez. Did you not remember that?
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, yes, that's right. Resend it.
I'll
Don't
send
tell
it.
the FBI.
Okay, I won't
FBI,
tell
if
anybody.
you're listening, just skip this part. Okay,
If they whisper, they can't hear us, but I'll go ahead and send
that's
you
true.
a link.
Okay,
That's right.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you very much.
All right, I think we're good and done with this. I can't wait for the next couple of films. Again, we're going to be going through a whole bunch of them, like Promising Young Woman and One Night in Miami, and a whole bunch of other ones like The Father, maybe even Mank. So keep your ears out for those reviews once they drop, and I'm sure we'll be back to cover, how the award season is shaping up. At that point, the Golden Globes would have aired, and of course, keep an eye out for our WandaVision recaps. We are ramping up toward the end, and we're all very much looking forward to seeing how that wraps up and everything. So, thank you, Peter Martinez, for being here. A reminder: you can listen to our podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts: Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Castbox, Google, and now iHeartRadio. Stay under the spotlight, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.